This is my 2000 Land Cruiser with 352,000 miles. In today's video, we're going to talk about how you can drive one of these bad boys for practically free. So let's get right into it. All right, let's do a really quick walk around and then we're going to talk about how you can drive one of these bad boys for free. This is a paint color River Rock mica. I believe it's River Rock green mica. But as you can see in the sun, you've got these metallics popping out and it looks green, almost metallic-y gray. It's my favorite color. These are aftermarket wheels and tires. And since everyone asked, they're 285, 75, 16 BFG KO2s. Those are 16 by 8 wheels. It does have aftermarket LED headlights, fog lights, interior lamps. If you want those, links in the description. And then these aftermarket visors that I put on, I can put the link in the description as well for those, where you can purchase those. Only upgrades, got some seat covers that I've put back there that were given to me by a sponsor, and interior lights, like I said. And you've got this really cool screen I can show you in a little bit that will allow you kind of modernized. But what everyone loves about the Land Cruiser, obviously, is this big tailgate that you can sit on. Now they did put an aftermarket aluminum here, and then I've got this really nice Iron Man sliding tailgate, sliding toolbox where you can put tons of stuff. And I've added this freezer cooler, keep things cool. I've got my air pump up my tires, charge the battery, car cleaning supplies, if you need to chop down a tree or sleep in your car, make some coffee, cook something, sleeping bag. Got everything I need to go camping back here. But I just love these, and you can literally pick one of these up for a decent price. I would say the seats are not that good and the bushings on the front end need to be changed, but other than that, these are great deals. Let's talk about how you can get in one of these and drive it for practically free. All right, so let's just cut to the chase. Basically what you need to do in order to drive one of these for practically free is find one that's undervalued, which means there's the market value, what these vehicles buy and sell for, what they trade for, and then you're gonna try to find one in your marketplace that's a little bit lower. So basically, just like you're flipping a house or anything else, or a coin or cards or whatever people trade, there's like a market value, what they're basically worth. And Land Cruisers have a market value because they're valuable, so it's not such variable. It kind of holds steady. So basically what I'm saying is, find a cheap one. Look through your marketplace. I found this one for $8,500. This was right before, you know what? This was like 2023. So I didn't overpay for it, that's for sure. When I bought it, I think it had 320,000 miles on it. But the reason I went ahead and paid a lot for it, not a lot for it, the reason I went ahead and bought this one in particular was because it had the original owner for about 20 years. So it had all of the paperwork from Toyota. They went to the same Toyota dealership practically for 20 years. Even the headlights were replaced with OEM Toyota headlights. There was plenty of, for example, the exhaust manifold was replaced with a OEM Toyota exhaust manifold. So, but I've been buying and selling cars for over 20 years, used little junky ones. I've had maybe 50 cars under $10,000. You know, all you need is a couple $1,000 and you buy one and you use it for a year and then you sell it for the same price you bought it for, and then you drove it for free, right? As long as you didn't have to put any money into the vehicle, you got to drive it for free. So, you know, I would buy a Honda Civic. I would find one that it needed to be cleaned, detailed. Maybe there was something about it that really reduced the value of it, like it had a cracked windshield or a rip in the seat, stuff I didn't really care about. And I would basically negotiate them down even further and wait until they're ready to sell it because nobody else wants it. And then they'll take you up on your offer. So you can get stuff or just sometimes you can just find really good deals, but you kind of have to have an eye for it. So this one was listed at 10, I got it for 85. I put wheels and tires on it. I think it cost me about $3,000 or $3,500 for the wheels and tires and the visors. But yeah, I've probably got 12 in it, something like that, 12.5 maybe. I have had to replace the heater tees. I would definitely replace the heater tees. They're plastic and they go bad after, 10 years, 20 years. And make sure the timing belt. So here's the big deal when you purchase these. If you get one that's already had the timing belt done, then you don't have to worry about that for a handful of years. If it hasn't had the timing belt done, then it might bust, it might not bust, but these motors they are interference as far as I know, and it will cause an issue if it's not gonna just leave you stranded, it's potentially gonna ruin the motor. So the biggest thing you need to watch out for is, has the timing belt been changed? If it hasn't, you can get a local mechanic to do it for probably $1,500, or if you take it to Toyota, it's gonna be more than that. Other than that, the front end bushings are gonna wear, but for example, I'll just give you this as an example. I bought this with like 320,000 miles, let's say. I paid $8,500 for it. It needed to be detailed and waxed and cleaned up, and I knew once I cleaned the paint up, it would look good, and then I put some wheels and tires on it. Now I've got something that looks really nice. It looks like a $15,000 rig or $20,000 rig just because of the paint, but it has really high miles. But the mileage doesn't matter on these as long as the timing belt's been changed and it's had the oil change, the transmission feels good, everything feels solid. It's really not that big of a deal. The thing that wears out is the suspension components. Now, do I want to spend $5,000 doing the upper and lower with Toyota OEM, having someone else do it and do all this stuff and invest all this money just to get it to drive a little bit better? No. So I'm going to leave it as is until something is wrong with it. And that's what I recommend you doing. So a lot of guys that are putting a ton of money into the Land Cruiser and talking about maintenance, they're kind of OCD, and that stuff doesn't necessarily need to be done to make it a driver, right? So to make it a driver, if it's got 300,000 miles and it's driving fine, unless it's causing the steering wheel to shake and it's wearing out the inner of your tires, so you have to change your tires every 6 months or something like that, I would not worry about it. So that's the only thing. As long as it's not causing you a problem that would actually keep your vehicle from running, if it's not broke, don't fix it, guys. Don't buy a $10,000 Land Cruiser and put $10,000 into it, because then you're going to be $10,000 in the hole. If you want to buy a $10,000 Land Cruiser, and it's actually a $10,000 Land Cruiser, meaning it's in good shape, hasn't been wrecked, hasn't been repainted, it's a clean title, AC works, drives good, sounds good, doesn't have an exhaust leak, all the windows work, all these different things, and it doesn't leak oil, doesn't burn oil, doesn't overheat, all this stuff. As long as it hasn't been wrecked, as long as it's janky, as long as it's a nice, clean cruiser, and you pay $10,000 for it, and you look at the market and you say, hey, it's kind of in that range where the other ones are trading at, and this is the cleanest one I can find for this price, you can put $10,000, purchase it, you can go take out a loan and pay $300 a month, and 5 years later, 3 years later, let's just say 1 year, you can drive it for a year and you can sell it for the same price you bought it for, so you got to drive it for free. Maybe you had to pay a little bit of interest on the loan. If you go 3 years, maybe you might have to do the heater tees or the timing belt, or then maybe you have to change the tires out or something like that. So you're investing a little bit more money. But other than that, you're not gonna have to really do that much. There's not like catastrophic failure points on these vehicles that you really need to worry about. You see what I'm saying? So you can buy kind of a beater and drive it for 1 to 3 to 5 years, and you're not gonna have to put any money into it as long as the timing belt's been changed. Even if the timing belt hasn't been changed and it's like close to, they need to be changed about every 80,000 miles or 10 years. Even if it's, let's just say it's at like 100,000 miles, honestly, I've seen people put 200,000 miles on those timing belts. So if you just wanna drive the vehicle for 1 to 3 years and risk it, that's totally fine. It's probably not gonna break, and it'll save you $3,000. And then from there, sell the vehicle when you want to. Just let everyone know, don't try to scam people, just let everyone know that you did not change the timing belt, and the timing belt needs to be changed. But you can get a lot of life out of the timing belts. I don't see any reason why you need to put a lot of money in fixing a lot of stuff that's kind of could be replaced, but is not keeping the vehicle from driving. So you can absolutely buy one of these for 10, 15, 20. Once you start getting in the $20,000 price range, there's a lot less buyers, but there are people that will buy them. Like this will sell better because it has the off-road wheels and tires that look really cool with the color. People just like it. I put it together like that because I liked it, and it's popular, so it's not gonna have a hard time selling. If I ever did wanna sell it, I could probably sell it for 12 or 15. Even if I just got my money back out of it, I got to drive it for free. You gotta pay for gas. But anyways, You can go take a loan at lightstream.com. They'll send you the cash within a day, and then you can go buy a Land Cruiser, and you can drive it for a year. And as long as nothing breaks, as long as it's been well maintained, you can turn back around and sell it for $10,000. That's how you drive it for free. You get the $10,000, you just pay the loan off, and you use their money to drive the vehicle around. Now, I don't recommend, this is not financial advice. I just recommend you got your ducks in a row before you do that, obviously. But that's one way to do it. So, appreciate you guys watching this video. Just wanted to share how a lot of people, Exotic Car Hacks does this. They teach you guys how to find exotic cars that don't depreciate. These don't depreciate. Like a Porsche 996 Turbo, they don't depreciate. They're already at the bottom pretty much. So you can buy these cars that have already depreciated, like a Skyline GTR or an Audi R8, the V8 models, and the Aston Martin Vantage, the older V8. A lot of these cars have already depreciated and they're stuck at 40,000. Look at the 09 GTR. I think it was 50,000 new, and 15 years later it's still at $50,000. On inflation and stuff, but it's basically hasn't lost that much money over 15 years. So there's a lot of vehicles that you can buy. If you want to look at it that way, instead of buying a Honda Civic for 30 grand, in 10 years it's going to be worth 20, right? You've lost 10 grand in 10 years. So something to think about. You can get these cars. I didn't know about lightstream.com, but if you want to use someone else's money to hold the title, and you drive it, and then when you're done using it, sell it, pay the loan off, you can absolutely do that. And you probably won't lose that much money. You'll just pay a little bit of interest every month, $50 a month or something like that. And so that's a way for you younger guys to get into one of these, but get your money up first and make sure you're financially stable and don't borrow more than you can lose. I would recommend that. If you like the truck, give me a thumbs up, comment, hit subscribe, and then if you like any of the parts, I'll put all the links for the parts below, and I'll catch you in the next video.